This
EWM
conference will now be recorded.
batch, which we are going to start from tomorrow onwards. And this you can consider this one as a first session as well. That will be only for 1 hour, but tomorrow onwards we are going to start in a full swing. And to start with, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ashish Kumar, and I have total 18 years of experience in SAP. And initial 10 years I have been working in SAP MM, WM, SD, LE modules, and I used to provide the training for SAP MM and WM. And from the last 8 years, I have been working in EWM and also providing SAP EWM trainings, interview assistance, job support, and also the corporate consultancy. So the agenda of this session will be that we will go through the short demo of SAP EWM, and then I will talk about the training approach, what will be the approach throughout our training sessions, the duration of the training sessions. We will go through the course content, and we will also talk about the timings. And at any point of time, in case anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your query and get the clarification. And also, just one thing to be noted that in my every batch, I keep maximum 7 to 8 candidates. And once I get 8 candidates in a batch, I will just freeze the batch so that I can focus on each and every one and make sure that everyone is clear on whatever we are learning in the sessions. So I am sharing my screen. Let me know once you are able to see my screen.
We can.
Okay. Thanks for the confirmation. So as you know, I mean, you guys might be having SAP experience, might be having more than 10 years of experience, could be fresher. But one thing, please make a note that EWM is a altogether different module. It is not like your regular SAP MM, SD, and PP modules. It is altogether a warehousing application where you have the different transactions, different navigations, and altogether a different concept in SAP. So if you are thinking that you have no SAP experience and the others have SAP experience, but as long as you have no experience in SAP EWM, doesn't matter. You have experience in other modules. If you have no experience in EWM, then everybody will be on the same boat. So just to give you the background, as you might be knowing, SAP has a different application, and earlier SAP has a warehouse application as well that we call as a regular WM. But the thing is that regular WM, it was a very, very basic application, and SAP was losing the business in the warehousing space with the competitors like Oracle, Marathon, and there are different warehousing applications other than SAP. And then SAP came up with the EWM that was sometime in the uh, early, I mean, around 2010, but that was very complex. But later on, with the S4 HANA, that is the latest technology of SAP, the EWM is very much simplified. And earlier it was decentralized, but now available in the embedded version as well. So that is basically used for the complex warehouse where you have the fast moving products, and also nowadays it can be used for the simple warehouses. Now you might be wondering where the EWM stands in the end-to-end supply chain. So here you can see we have an end-to-end supply chain process. So before we go into the SAP, just visualize from the business point of view. In case you are working in the manufacturing industry, so it could be, say, you can consider Amul or Nestle or Saputo, where they are in the cheese production. You can consider that the end-to-end process will be they are procuring a milk from the vendor, milk, sugar, and other ingredients they are procuring from the vendor. Once they procure the milk, they will store it in the warehouse. Then they will issue the milk for the production purpose. They will consume the milk in the production, and then they will produce the cheese products. And then that will be stored in the warehouse from where it will be shipped to the customer. So if we think from the end-to-end supply chain point of view, procurement of milk is SAP MM, but when you receive the milk, you store it in the warehouse, that is considered as a MM integration with EWM. Now, when you withdraw the milk in the production lines and receive the cheese product, that is SAP production planning integration with EWM. The moment we are storing the products in the warehouse and withdrawing the products in the warehouse, that is where the EWM comes into picture. And then once you produce the cheese products, you further store it in the warehouse, and then from there you will ship it to the customer. So shipment to the customer from the warehouse, that is SAP sales and distribution integration with EWM. So this is the end-to-end supply chain. So before we talk about SAP, before we think about SAP, we need to first think from the business standpoint, how the business works. Because if you have no SAP, you have no EWM in the business, still the business is running and business can even operate on a piece of paper. So it is not like the SAP is driving the business, but business is driving the SAP. So this is the basic organization structure on the ERP side. So guys having already experience in SAP would be able to correlate that you have a plant and the storage location. That means if we again talk about the company like Nestle, they have presence in all across the globe. They have presence in US, they have presence in Canada, and they have presence in Europe and Asia as well. Now, when we talk about the plant, plant is considered as the manufacturing plant or it could be the distribution center that we are going to create in the system as an entity. And within the plant, you have a storage location. Storage location is where you are storing the product. In case of no EWM, you are storing it at the storage location level. But in case you have a WM, then you have the storage location linked with the warehouse number. And if you have EWM, that warehouse number is linked to the EWM warehouse. So the purpose of EWM is you are managing the inventory at the bin level. So I will just explain you about how it works with and without EWM. Okay, so this was just the kind of explanation I had given in my previous training sessions. I mean, I will just start from scratch again. Now, assuming that you have this warehouse, uh, guys, if you are
Okay.
not speaking, can you please go on mute, please? Okay, so assuming that you have this warehouse, this could be your Walmart warehouse or Costco warehouse, and here you are storing multiple products. If you are in US, you can visualize from the Walmart warehouse. If you are in India, you can visualize from the DMart or Reliance retail store point of view. So if you have this warehouse and you have different racks, in this rack, suppose you are storing stationery item. You have another rack where you are storing, say, the food products. And within the food products, you have vegetarian and non-vegetarian item. So you have vegetarian item stored here and non-vegetarian item stored here. Now within the vegetarian item, you would like to store the fruits and vegetables separately. So here you have fruits and here you have vegetables. So this is just a very, very basic example which I am giving. Now, assuming that you have received a carton containing 100 apples. So what will happen? You will have the truck coming to the place and then you will unload the carton of apples in this area. Now, when you are unloading the carton of apples, you might be having one carton, you might be having 100 cartons. So if you are receiving 100 cartons, then what will happen? You will store this carton in the warehouse at the appropriate place, right? If you have apples here, then this carton of apple, you are going to store it within the fruits section. This is the regular business process. Now, even if you don't have SAP in the Walmart store, still they are following the process. So SAP has nothing to do with the process, but when they are going to implement the SAP, what they will do, they have either the EWM managed locations or non-EWM managed location. So the purpose is that if you have no EWM, then what you will do, you will be having a purchase order. That means you are placing an order to the vendor that you want 10 cartons of apple. When vendor ship the cartons of apple in a truck, and the truck will be coming to your warehouse, you are going to unload the apples. In case of no EWM, system will only direct you to complete the unloading process. Okay. If no EWM, that means you are managing your inventory at the storage location level. System will simply direct you to unload the apples, and then the warehouse will have to decide where to put the apple. They might put the apples here, they might put the apples here, they might put the apples here, the carton here. There is no check from the system standpoint. But in case you have EWM, then system will direct you. You will get a direction from the system at every step, and here you will get the direction from the system to place the apple in this appropriate space. Okay, so you have the truck coming in the warehouse. You receive the carton of apples. You have done the unloading. You put the labels on the apples cartons, and then the system will direct you to place the apples, the carton of apples in the appropriate bin. So that level of details you will get it in the system. And now if we talk about the EWM organization structure, this is what the EWM structure is. You have the doors. The door is a place where the truck comes and truck will stand at the door. Now this is the warehouse where you have the storage type, storage section and storage bin. So now if you visualize or correlate with this structure, this is your warehouse. The warehouse is divided into multiple storage types. This is your storage type. This is your storage type 2. Storage type is further divided into storage sections. And the last spot where you are storing the product is called as a storage bin. In case you are implementing EWM, then you have the warehouse. If you have no EWM, then this is considered as a storage location only, where you have simply received the cartons of apples. But in case you are implementing EWM, then this will be set up as a warehouse in the system where you have the storage type, which is divided into storage sections, and the last spot where you are storing the product, actually you are storing the product, is your storage bins. In case of automobiles, you have, assuming that you have two parking structures, right? This is a consumer industry, but in case you have automobiles, you have the same warehouse, and here you have two different parking structures. In one parking structure, you are storing the vehicle which is more than 1200 cc, and in the other parking structure, you are storing the vehicle which is less than 1200 cc. Okay, so if you could visualize from this standpoint, you know that you have the parking area at every floor. You have 8-story parking. So this storage type will be divided into 8 storage sections. In every section, you have the parking space where you are parking the vehicle. So that is called as a storage bin. Okay, so now if we go one step further, this is the process in the warehouse where you have the door where the truck comes and truck will stand at the door. You will complete the unloading part in this area, which is called as the staging area in the EWM. So this is called as a door. This is called as a staging area. And then you have the bins where you are actually storing the product. It could happen that you received the apples, but these apples would be going through the quality inspection process before you actually stored it in the bin. That means you receive the carton, and if cartons are not fulfilling your quality standards, the apples are not fulfilling your quality standards, then it will be either scrap or return it back to the vendor, or it could be based on the warehouse process. So in this case, these apples would be going into the quality work center before the put away. So if that is the process where before storing the products in the bin, you will have to do the quality check. Then you will set up the separate area which is called as a work center, which you can see here as 8010. And you have the yard. Yard is like managing your TU movement, truck movement, right? You have doors. If you have 3 doors and 5 trucks are coming at a time, so 3 trucks will be coming here in the warehouse for either unloading or loading in the outbound process. That is, when you are shipping the same apple to the customer, you will load into the truck. So if you have 3 doors, 3 trucks will be docking at the door and the remaining will be waiting in a parking area. So this is how the EWM organization structure works, and this is how it is different from your IM, inventory management, which is considered as a non-EWM. In case you have non-EWM, no EWM, then your warehouse is considered as a IM manage. That means this is considered as a storage location and you have simply unloaded the carton of apples. No further direction from the system standpoint. So if you have no EWM, then what happens? If you have 5 cartons, your inventory will be reflecting as a 500 apples. If you have no EWM, that is IM managed location.
The
Hey,
bin
Ashish.
allocation
In
will be
case,
automatic or it can be
sorry,
predetermined? The bin allocation after quality inspection.
no, see, it depends upon the product. If you have, say, the television or refrigerator or stationary items, right, that need not require to go through the quality inspection. But in case you have the perishable items, that will be going through the quality inspection. So there are multiple factors which determines if the product is subjected to quality inspection or not.
Hey, Ashish.
Okay.
So really quick question. Um, for in general, would you like questions as they're coming? Like, for example, you're talking about right now, like this initial uh, uh, inbound process. Um, when we're going to ask you a question, should we wait to the very end when you take pauses, like ask for questions, or while it's relevant right now, then you want the question now?
Yeah, if the question is relevant to what I am talking about, then you can ask that time itself.
Okay. So I guess my question then would be, um, what would be the advantage here for EWM versus, for example, an IM situation where I could imagine a world where IM can do a lot of these same things. I know you talked about like different source types, but for example, if we just gave IM enough storage locations, And then, for each material, then you would inbound it to the correct storage location, and then you would have your quality material. That would be all based on material master stuff, where you would have whatever quality inspection types, or I think it's what's it called, like inspection types. So you can still control for the quality stuff. Where here is EWM necessary or like an advantage?
Okay. So now suppose you have 100 bins, right? Suppose you have 100 bins here in the Walmart store. Of course, you cannot create 100 storage locations. Even if you create 100 storage locations, how the system is going to determine the storage location? If your requirement is that whenever you receive the apples, okay, whenever you receive the apple should be stored in a bin which is empty. That means if you have already one carton stored here, the next carton which is coming, it should be going into the next bin which is empty. The third carton which is coming, it will be going into the third bin which is empty. So that this carton which is expiring on say March 30, the next carton which is expiring on April 5, the third carton which is expiring on April 15th. When you ship it to the customer, system should ship the carton which is expiring first. So this is not possible in case you are using non-EWM. You are not using EWM. The other thing is that if you are using IM manage only, then if you have 5 cartons, your inventory will reflect only 500 apples or say 5 cartons. But
So in
here,
such a scenario when we are using the the shelf life expiry, in IM we can manage the shelf life expiry for batches, right? We can have separate batches for each carton.
okay, so system will not determine your bin, right? Every time you will have to manually enter the storage locations. You receive cartons, you manually enter the storage location, you go into the bin, find out which one is empty, then find out which one is what storage location, and then you manually enter the storage location. In EWM, system will determine your bin whichever is empty.
Got it. So what I'm hearing so far is that the EWM is a much more fine-grained control, especially at the bin level, right? Or like being able to determine very, very specifically, how material is supposed to work.
Okay,
Other than that,
no,
what
first of
other
all, you are
advantages?
from which place? You are from US, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so let forget EWM. Let me give you one example. If I need to travel to your place, suppose you are located in Sunnyvale, okay, I need to travel to your place Sunnyvale. Okay, I have two options. Either to take a flight from Mumbai to New York and find out your place in Sunnyvale on my own. I have no direction, right? I have no direction within US. I will have to find out your place on your own. The other example could be I will take a flight from Mumbai to New York. I will wait there for 2 hours and then take a connecting flight from New York to California. I will go out, take a taxi on the right side, and it will take me to your place in Sunnyvale. Which one will be more convenient? The first one is IM, second one is EWM.
Got it. So the thing is, from this example, it sounds like IM is just going to be simpler. So generally, my view then would be IM would have a little bit more advantage just because it's simpler. There's less things to do, right? Less things to go wrong. While if you're adding complexity with EWM, um, there's more, I guess, specific things, right? Especially with the whole EWM process, right?
No, see, there are several differences between IM and EWM. It is not only about the structure. Okay, so throughout the course, I will be talking about the differences between the IM and the EWM, and you will learn it on your own as well in the course. What are the
Got it.
differences?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, this
Sounds
is
good.
just about the structure. But other than there are different processes, different things in the EWM, different functionalities available in the EWM, and that's why you can see the rush in the market. Everybody is looking for EWM. If it is IM, then you can say for every 1,000 consultants in the market, there is one good EWM consultant. Okay, so there will be, of course, a
Bit of
difference, and that difference we are going to talk in our 40 hours course.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so here if you see in the inventory, it will reflect 5 cartons. But if you have EWM, it will reflect in bin 1 you have 2 cartons, in bin 2 you have 1 carton, and so. Okay. Now if you have IM,
Ashish, uh, s- sorry to interrupt. Uh, I have a question. Once the process is done, I mean, storage, assign the storage bin, does it create a batch or any other priority references?
yeah, so batch,
For an example, I see uh, 1C, 2C, are there any differentiated? I mean, like batch creation or something happen in background?
no,
Like that's
batch
the
you
problem.
can create the batch in multiple ways. First of all, when you receive the apple, it will create a batch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you can even create the batch beforehand, or
Mm-hmm.
you can even create the batch in the RF device. So product is batch managed. For the same product, you have multiple batches. The same
Mm-hmm.
product, you have it in the multiple cartons, and then these are the bins. In the bin, you can either store apples of one batch, you can store apples of multiple batch, you can store apples and potatoes and bananas or different batches. That is
Mm-hmm.
based on your storage requirements.
Yeah. My question is, let's say we have 10 boxes in Apple. We have done the inspection part and assigned the bin IC 1C and 2C today. So we have assigned it today, and the rest of the boxes we were uh, inspection completed and stuff like that happen on future dates. So I can when this process is completed, do I have see the uh, bin assigned dates and the batch numbers specifically?
Yes, so you can see the batch
Okay.
numbers. Okay, in the inventory, you can see the product, you can see the batch, you can see the receiving date, receiving
Hmm.
time as well, you can see in the inventory.
Okay. One more thing. Will you be able to repeat inspection process, please, if you don't mind?
No, no, inspection process is owned by the quality team.
Okay. Is there any specific storage location you have mentioned?
So no, this one is considered as a work center. When we
Okay.
talk
Okay.
about the EWM, this one is a work center where you are doing the
Okay.
additional activities. Okay, you received the
Okay.
carton containing apples. Now you want to do the quality inspection, or you want to count how many apples are there inside the cartons. Or
Mm-hmm.
if you have received a carton containing 200 apples, and as per your bin size, you can accommodate only 100 apples in one bin. So you will
Okay.
split the carton into two. So the additional activities which you are doing with this carton, that will be done in the work center.
Okay. In SAP, we block that quantity until we finish the quality inspection. Do we have specific area for that in
No,
Moment
EWM?
types, something
in
like moment types.
no,
Okay.
there is no movement type in EWM. In EWM, you have a process type.
Okay.
Okay. Now
Hmm.
think from the warehouse point of view. If you have received a carton, right, what you are going to do with that? Of course, until the quality inspection is done, you are not going to ship it to the customer, correct?
Yes.
Until the quality inspection is done, you are not going to store it in your products, along the good products, right? Along with the good products, because it could be damaged. You want to scrap it, you
Hmm.
want to return it back to the vendor. So what
Yes.
all scenarios you could consider or visualize from the warehouse point of view, doesn't matter. You have SAP, Oracle, EWM, not EWM.
Mm-hmm.
You are not going to store the bad apples along with the good apples, correct? You are not
Okay.
going to store the expired apples along with the good apples. You are not
Mm-hmm.
going to ship the products undergoing the quality inspections to the customer,
Okay.
correct? So all those
Mm.
processes which are possible in the warehouse, all those processes we are going to set up in the system as well.
Right. Got it.
Okay, if you are thinking that this is possible in the system, this is not possible in the system, think from the warehouse point of view. If that is possible scenario in the warehouse, that is possible in the system as well.
Right. Got it. Thank
Okay,
you.
guys. So maybe, I mean, this is just a demo session. So we will not go into that level of details. I will just explain you about the high level. So this is the inbound process where you have the purchase order, which you send it to the vendor that you need 5 cartons of apple. When the vendor actually ship the cartons, it will generate the inbound delivery, which is called as a shipping notification. That movements we are going to post in the ERP site. ERP is a supply chain module where you have PP, all the supply chain applications, and EWM is exclusively for the warehousing. So you receive the inbound delivery that will be received in the EWM as well. Similarly, in the outbound process, so when something is coming in the warehouse, you create the inbound delivery. When something is being shipped out of the warehouse, it will be outbound delivery. So for customer orders, that is a sales order, you create the outbound delivery. This inbound delivery and outbound delivery order are also called as a warehouse request. Request for what? Request for this activity. Inbound, request for put away, that put away stock placement. Outbound, request for stock removal. And with reference to the warehouse request, the task is created, warehouse task. So with reference to the warehouse request, the task is created, which product, which batch, where you are going to take and where you are going to place and how many units. All the goods movement information will be there in the warehouse task. In the inbound process, you have the staging area as I explained, that is a source, and the destination is your storage bin that will be determined based on different put away rules, different strategies. Okay, in IM you don't have strategies, you just have the storage location which you can manually insert at the time of receiving. But when you have EWM, you have different bins, you have different strategies. Either you want to place the carton in the empty bin, every time the carton comes, it will go into the empty bin. Or if you receive the carton of apples having the same batch again, the product with the same characteristics will be placed in the same bin. Or you have the different kind of pallets which you want to store it. It is just like you have the parking space, right? You have four-wheeler parking, you have two-wheeler parking. Whenever you receive the four-wheeler, system should propose you the four-wheeler parking. When you receive the two-wheeler, system will propose you the two-wheeler parking, so that your warehouse will be properly organized, right? You can always park two-wheeler in the four-wheeler parking, but you cannot park four-wheeler in the two-wheeler parking, correct? Similarly, big boxes, big cartons will go into the big bin and small cartons will go into the small bins. If that is possible only in the your placement strategies, so that the right product will be stored in the right bin. And then in the outbound process, your source will be based on your stock removal rules. Of course, you have expiry date as the criteria in the IM, where you can set it up in the batch determination. But what if I have 5 cartons having the same expiry date? I have 5 cartons which are expiring on January 30, right? So which one you are going to determine out of 5 cartons? Is that possible in the IM? No, that is not possible. When you go to the medical shop, you ask for 15 tablets. What the shopkeeper will do? Shopkeeper will give you one full strip of 10 pieces, that is one packet, that is one sealed carton, and he will look for the already broken carton, right? With the loose tablets which are there for the remaining 5. So that functionality you can achieve it in the EWM. If your full carton size, the completely packed sealed carton contains 100 apples and you receive the order of 250 apples, what the EWM is going to propose you, take the full carton, completely packed carton of 100 each, and for the 50 you don't need to break the carton, you can find it out in the already broken carton. So that level of control you can achieve in the stock removal strategies in EWM. Now for this warehouse task, you have the warehouse order. That is not possible in your storage location IM. That means you assign the work package to the employee. Every warehouse order contains a warehouse task, right? If you have a carton containing 100 apples and if you have a carton containing 500 apples, and you have two type of resources in the warehouse, one is the regular resource like you and me, and the other one is the forklift operator. Which carton you are going to assign to the forklift operator and which carton you are going to assign to the regular resource? Forklift operator, you will assign the warehouse order having a
Can
task
you sorry Ashish,
which,
can you make it in the presentation mode?
sorry, yeah. Okay, so warehouse order is the work package which you assign to the resource. If I am a resource and my supervisor assigned me this warehouse order, then I am responsible to execute this task. If I have a forklift operator, then I can assign multiple tasks to the forklift operator because he has more capacity, he has more capability. So that is through your warehouse order, so that the right resource will be executing the right activity, and you can even measure the time as well, how many minutes or how many hours that resource took to complete that activity, so that you can measure the performance of the resources as well.
Hey, Ashish, would this be considered like a part of labor management?
No, no, labor management is a different
Okay.
topic altogether.
Okay.
In without labor management as well, you can measure the timing of the resource, the
Okay.
execution timing, how much time it took to complete your stock placement, complete your stock removal, complete your internal movement from one bin to another bin, and so.
Got it.
Okay, and this warehouse orders, how the system knows which task will be having a link to which warehouse order, that would be done based on the warehouse order creation rules. Okay, so you have warehouse order creation rule based on which the warehouse orders will be created and the warehouse task would be linked to the order. Again, we will not go into that level of details. And then you have the wave process. In case the truck is coming, two trucks are coming for Walmart. Here you can see you have two trucks coming, three trucks coming, one for the Walmart, other one for the Costco. The first one requires 100 units of cheese, or say one carton of apple. The second one requires 2 cartons of apple. So you have two options. Either your resource will go into the bin, he will take 1 carton of apple, load it into the truck, or he can take or he can pick, he can remove all 3 cartons, bringing it in the intermediate area, and from there he can segregate into the trucks. He can load into the trucks. That is a wave process. Then you have the different transfer methods between the ERP and EWM, how the data is transferred. Somebody was talking about the movement types. In EWM, you don't have the movement types, you have the process type. How these process types are determined, how this is linked to the movement type, all this we are going to talk about in the course. So we have been talking about the cartons containing 100 apples. It could be that you have a pallet which contains 5 cartons. Each carton contains 100 apples. So how the packaging will be done? You cannot do this in the IM. It will be done in the EWM only. You have the different packaging. It could be that you have a television which you want to wrap it in a bubble wrap. You will put it in a carton. Then in between the two such cartons, you would like to put the thermocol. So how that packaging will be done, that we will see in the packaging specification. Then you have the yard management, which is all about the truck movement. So I will quickly go through the course content, and then in case you have any questions on the course, feel free to ask. So our training will be in S4 HANA 2022 version. I am checking the possibility to get the 2023 system as well, because 2023 S4 HANA is also available now. So we will start with the basics. Right from scratch, we are going to create the warehouse, and then we are going to set up all these different elements what we saw there as a storage type, storage bins. We have the different work centers, doors, staging areas. Then we have a warehouse process type that is considered for the goods movement. In ERP, you have a movement type. EWM, you have a process type. You have handling units. Handling unit is like cartons, your pallets, your bags, your boxes. All your packaging will be done in the different handling units. Then we will see the different stock placement, that is called as a put away in EWM, different put away rules, and the different stock removal rules. Right? I explained you empty bin or addition to existing stock, or if you have a pallet storage, small carton, small bin, big carton, big bin, all that will be in a put away rules. In the stock removal rules, you have first in, first out, last in, first out. What if 4 pallets are first in, first out? Then which one to consider as a second criteria in the stock removal? Then you have a packaging specification about your packing requirement, warehouse order creation, how the warehouse order creation rule works. Then within EWM, you have internal processes moving from one bin to another. Consider the stock type change. If something is broken, you want to block it, you want to move it in the quality inspection. Physical inventory process, you have it in the IM. In the IM, you have at the storage location level, very basic minimal. In EWM, you have at the bin level. So entire physical inventory process we will talk about. Then in IM, in MM, you have the output determination. In EWM, you have no output determination. You want to print the labels, you want to trigger any workflow or send the email communication, all that will be achieved through the post-processing frameworks. And then you have the wave process, where you will do the cumulative picking. Say 2 trucks are coming, one truck requires 100, other requires 200. You will pick 300 at once and then load into the truck after segregation at a place. Then the storage control, it is like we will talk about this work center. This will come under the storage control, where you have received a big carton and you want to split the carton, or in the outbound process, you have small partially packed carton, right? That means the carton containing 100 apples, you have only 50 apples there. You want to pack it, repack it as per the customer requirement. One customer requires label on the top, other customer requires color coding. All that will be in the packing work center, which you will see in the storage control. Then yard management is all about the truck movement. You have the resource management. We talked about the resource. You have the forklift operator, you have the guided vehicle, you have the conveyor, you have the regular resources, how that resource management will be working. Then we have the RF gun. So most of the EWM activities, execution, postings will be done on the handheld scanner. So that we are going to set up in the system, and whatever the inbound and outbound activities we have done earlier, that we will do it in the scanning device. Then you have the cross docking, where instead of placing the product in the bin and withdrawing from the bin for a shipment to the customer, what you will do, you will directly unload and load from here. So that is a cross docking process. So in addition to this, we will talk about the cutover activities which we need to do in the projects, and we will also talk about the data migration, how you are going to load the materials, how you are going to load the bins, packaging specification, all this. Any questions in the course content? And one more thing, some of you are fresher, having no SAP experience at all. So just the experienced guys, please bear with me for one session or so. because we will be starting with the SAP overview session. That means the first session that will be tomorrow will be SAP overview, where we will talk about all the SAP core modules, SAP organization structure, integration with EWM. Okay, and then we'll give enough time to the freshers to get up to speed and get themselves comfortable with the basics of SAP. Okay, so the first session or first two sessions probably will be on the SAP basics of all the modules and how all these modules are integrated with your SAP EWM. We will also talk about the organization structure which we will set up in the SAP. Because as you know, EWM is a complex module, right? It is a complex, that's why it is a niche and that's why it has a demand. So before we go into the EWM, it will be fair for the freshers, it will be justice for the freshers to get up to speed and learn few basic things in SAP which are required before they start EWM. So all that basics which are required as a prerequisite for EWM, I will explain to them so that they will get comfortable and then will start the EWM journey. Okay, and you will be getting S4 HANA 2022 or 2023 remote desktop. So you don't need to install any software. You will be getting the remote desktop. So you can connect to the remote desktop like this, and here you will be getting the system. So you will open the system from here. So every participant, every candidate will get their own server, and you can do the practice there for say 2.5 months. Okay, now the forum is open in case you have any kind of questions on the course content, training approach, or anything, you can feel free to ask. The technical questions, we can take it up during our sessions then.
How many? I mean, it is a weekend class or it's a weekend classes, right?
Yeah, it will
Weekend.
be weekend classes and it will be in the evening IST, that will be morning CST, and I mean, we have a guy from Australia as well, so we'll prefer early morning. I mean, say around 7 to around 8 a.m. CST or 8:30 CST. So based on the comfort of everyone.
So in India time, it is evening, right?
Yeah, India time it will be evening only, Saturday evening, Sunday evening. US time it will be Saturday morning, Sunday morning, 2 hours each, and yeah, Australian timing it will be say 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. Australian time.
Oh, Ashish, tomorrow it's going to be the same time as it was today, right? Or
Yes,
is
so tomorrow, yeah, so tomorrow we will again, so tomorrow session I will send it out only to the guys who are enrolled, and then based on the comfort of everyone who are enrolled, we'll finalize the timing tomorrow only.
okay.
So, and the meet and the platform will be Zoom. So, GoToMeeting is just for today. Tomorrow onwards, I will be sending out the Zoom invite to all the guys who are already enrolled. And again, guys, maximum 7 to 8 candidates. Please, no more than that. So, again, the guys who could not make it in the last batch, they have enrolled for this batch because last batch was full, and I had to decline because it will be otherwise injustice to the guys who are enrolled.
For these sessions, um, they'll be recorded, and will those recordings be provided how?
Yes, so within 30 minutes of the completion, immediately I will provide the recordings. All the sessions will be recorded. Once we are done
What
with that session, suppose Saturday session is done, then immediately within 30 minutes of completion, I will be sending out the recordings. The next session, we will start with your Q&A, because here you can see the entire course is divided into 3 levels. The first level is very basics of EWM, which is mandatory for everyone to understand. Second level is the little bit of complex, for which the level 1 is prerequisite, understanding of level 1 is prerequisite, and third one is the complete design, that will be more complex process.
Ashish, sorry, I missed the introduction session. So can you please, I mean, from the fifth slide I started. So can you just brief about yourself and
Yeah, I will share the recording. Don't worry. I will share the recordings with every one of you.
okay.
So just for clarification on the recording, will they be just a file or is it going to be like a YouTube?
No, this will be the Zoom recordings. So I will be
Zoom
sending out,
recordings and you can,
yeah,
okay,
the recordings to your email ID.
got it. All right, thank you. I have a question on overall, very high level, kind of going back to like the IM EWM solution. Is that more a question that we want to answer next class, or is now okay?
Yes, Chris. I mean, you can ask me in detail tomorrow. You have
Okay,
already enrolled, so no need to worry. We will talk about it at length tomorrow when we will start with the basics of MM, right? Then you will understand MM. Then we will talk about EWM. Then 50% of your queries will be all automatically answered. And then whatever concerns you have, whatever queries you have, then you can ask me and I will make sure that you will understand.
got it. Thanks, Ashish.
Yeah, hi, Ashish. So the course time you said it's like 2 hours per day, right? So it will take
Right,
it's going to be like 40 hours. So it's going to be like probably 2 months, 2.5 months.
correct.
Okay.
So last batch I
What
started
is the
sometime
certification?
February first week and completed last week only. So close to 2.5 months.
Okay. What about certification, Ashish? Will you help me? I mean, will you give the details of certification?
See, I am providing trainings, I am providing assistance in the certifications, I am providing job support, and I am also helping you in the interview. Most of you guys already knows that. Okay, but the course fees, right? This is only for the training. But later on, whatever support you need, that we can talk about it later after the course completion.
Okay. I mean, how much the overall fees you
No,
Ashish,
see,
sorry to interrupt you here. I think so, because our candidates was also there, we can talk on the fees
guys,
later.
fees you can discuss with your, individual training
Coordinators.
institutes,
Right.
right? So please don't talk about fees because it varies. So don't raise that fees point. You can talk to the coordinators.
okay.
Okay, in case you have any other concerns on the timing, on the course content, anything, just feel free to ask.
So, Ashish, this is Sonia. I just want to confirm one thing. I think I kind of like missed out a little bit when you were talking about how long the classes are on the weekends. Is it a 1 hour class on Saturday or a 2 hour class on Saturday?
No, it will be 2 hours Saturday and 2 hours Sunday.
Okay. And will there be any sort of like a break in between, or is it like a continuous session?
No, after every 45 minutes, we will take 5 minutes of break.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, guys, and believe me, you will take the entire week to, practice, to learn, to go through the recordings, to catch up. And in the subsequent week, in the subsequent sessions, you can always start with your queries. Okay, so you will be getting the same SAP system, which I will be using it for our session. So whatever transactions we are posting in the system, that will be available for you in the system as well as in the recording. You can refer that and do your own practice. And if you are stuck anywhere while doing the practice, you can always, ask me.
Oh,
Ashish,
sorry,
the
one more
same what we
question.
are learning here, the same will be helpful in business scenario.
see, we will be again, if you uh, there are different business scenarios, right? So if we just think of all the business scenarios, then it will take more than 300 hours. But here in this training sessions, I will make sure that your concepts in the EWM are clear. The most commonly used business scenarios are covered, and then you will be self-sufficient to design the process in case any complexity comes up later on. Okay, so did I answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, I understood. And how this EWM help for the e-com industry?
Guys, so when we talk about the business scenario in our sessions, right, we will talk
Mm.
about all these things, different industries, pharmaceutical, your e-commerce, like Amazon or any other thing, your automobile and your consumer, everything.
Okay.
So,
Ashish,
actually, Son, I'm going to ask a question really quickly here.
please go
You said we will have access to the system for a week before and after the training sessions. Um, if there is an issue with the system while we are like on the weekdays and we're stuck, what is the support look like? Can we just like
No, no,
email
if
you or just
no,
wait till
see,
like we couldn't do anything?
no, I will be creating a WhatsApp group, and in the WhatsApp group, we are going to communicate. So in case you are having any issue with the system, like the system is down or system is slow or you are not able to connect to the system, you can post it in the WhatsApp group. Maybe your concern might be applicable for others as well. So I will make sure that the system issues will be resolved immediately.
Thank you.
Ashish, are you going to share that PPT as well for reference?
Yeah, of
Or
course, I will share all the PPTs. We have 4 to 5 PPTs, and other than the PPTs, I will also share the SAP Learning Hub materials. That will be the PDF of more than say 2000 pages, and also all the 40 hours recordings I will share.
okay, thank you, Ashish.
So if no further questions, then maybe we can close the session. In case you have any other questions later on, if you can connect with me either through your training institutes or you are already directly talking to me, you can talk to me directly. Okay, and in case the batch is full, I will let your institute know that the batch is full, and then maybe you can consider for the next batch or whatever you feel like.
Okay. Thanks, Sasesh.
Okay, then.
Thanks,
Okay,
Ashish.
Thanks
Ashish,
for your
thank you so
time.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, then. Talk to you tomorrow, same time. Bye.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Ashish.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone.